is the MLS a new destination for developing players?
It
Like
is.
Brenner went there. No, Brenner like is there right now.
Brenner
Talij Magnu went to New York City.
just debuted. Yep, debuted yesterday in a win.
Like, what's happening? What's happening? Tell us. What's happening in the States?
Well, that is a whole nother conversation for sure. But right now, what you're getting is a combination of the success that was taken with Miguel Almiron at Atlanta United. So these billionaire owners of MLS teams are actually getting the chance to open up their pockets some. The reason
Okay.
why MLS, you think of a bunch of billionaires in the US, right? You think of all the NFL teams; they all basically have a hand in these MLS teams. You've got a actual construct that keeps the spending low for Major League Soccer. So the fact that they're opening them up for these youth players like a Brenner very much makes them a destination as a stepping stone, right? And if you can buy Brenner for 12, $13 million, FC Cincinnati, who was absolutely horrendous last year, but then you can turn around and 2 years later, you foster him, you give him phenomenal training facilities, constant playing time, and pretty damn good coaching, you
Mm-hmm.
can sell them off for double that, right? And it makes a whole lot of sense. And that's the same with Talis Magno. Talis Magno was playing for Vasco in Serie B, right, in the Brazilian second division. So it makes a lot of sense. The Brazilian thing is new because previously it was Colombians, it was some Argentinians like Santiago Sosa at Atlanta United, but it's going to continue, and you're going to see more stepping stones. You'll never necessarily see a Marcus Edwards heading over to MLS, but who knows? Maybe that'll change too.
Oh, you saw Jack Harrison,
You
didn't
did
you?
well. Jack Harrison did go to Wake Forest. He went to college in the States,
Okay.
um, and then he was taken first. And man, that is a story in and of itself too.
That's a good story.
It is a great
But
story.
but
He's
what
an
I think
awesome player.
but what I think with the MLS is you had Beckham, and didn't the league help to have Beckham salary wise?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure. How does that work? How does a league help a team in terms of salary?
Yeah, it's called the Beckham rule. So think about the Arthur Blank, who co-founded Home Depot, owns Atlanta United. Okay.
Okay.
And he could go out if he wanted to and spend 200 if this was a truly open, non-financial fair play type of situation, he could go out and spend all he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, MLS basically said we've never had a league that lasted more than say 10 years, like the NASL back in the heyday of Pele and all that. And I'm sorry, but you just like ruffled the feathers of somebody that loves it. So
Wasn't Pele and
basically, what
Beckenbauer
it
there?
yeah when
Pele,
yeah
Beckenbauer.
Beckenbauer, Giorgio Canaglia, Georgie Best,
Okay.
all these guys. But here's what happened, right? When David Beckham came over, the minimum salary was like the salary cap was smaller than what they were going to pay David Beckham, essentially guaranteed money. So they had to create a rule, and they called it the Beckham rule, but it's also known as a designated player. And it says right now on the rosters, you're allowed like 4 designated players and a couple youth designated players. And it basically says that if the salary cap is, say, $5 million, you
Mm-hmm.
can pay any of these players that are designated as designated players as much as you want, but their salary cap hit will only be like $400,000. So you could pay a Brenner $3 million a year, $5 million a year, but it will
Okay.
only hit the cap 400,000. The rest comes from the actual owner, right? Or that. So that's opened up the possibility. David Beckham started this process, and it was a bunch of old stars, right? Wayne Rooney came to DC United.
Mm-hmm.
Zlatan
Steven
came to
Gerrard,
LA Galaxy. Uh,
Pirlo.
yeah. So yeah, Pirlo and Frankie Lampard for NYCFC. Uh,
Thierry Henry. Ah,
here,
Thierry Henry. Ah, I
yep,
butchered
yep.
that.
He actually had some really good games. I was covering the Red Bulls back then, but this literally led to they've all gotten younger over the years, and now with Atlanta United having success with Miguel Almiron and that sale off to Newcastle for like $25 million,
Mm-hmm.
it doubled the amount. So MLS is going to continue to be a selling, much like the Eredivisie is, but they create their players and then they sell them off. In
Mm-hmm.
MLS, you're going to have creating players like a Tyler Adams, right, and selling them off, or a Gio Reyna was NYCFC, Brendan Aronson or Mark
Mm-hmm.
McKenzie, and then you're also going to have these young superstars coming in, like a Talis Magno, Santiago Sosa, Miguel Almiron, Joseph Martinez, and then you have them selling. So MLS is going to become a big destination.
Well, the South Americans got hit financially with Corona
That's true.
really hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like any option that was financially good,
Yeah.
they went for it. And even I saw some really low deals with Lucas Veríssimo that went to Benfica. He
Sure.
was really cheap. And but yeah, that's really interesting how the MLS has the same philosophy as the NBA.
Yeah. That's true.
But you agree with it though? Do you want it to stay like that?
As of
Won't
right now, I do. I do
won't there
because
be a time that you say like, let's go big, let's get the
yeah.
big players to the MLS?
Well, absolutely, but MLS is still 96, 1996, so it's still young. To talk about what was it? I think Brentford, who just made its way back into the Premier League since 1947 for the first time since 1947. They've been a club for like 140 years, 130 years. We are babies, right? We are
Okay.
babies with a global footprint, but we are also, you have the NBA, you have the NFL that have these amazing global footprints. And, you take a little bit from them. But I think for right now, we're heading into MLS is going to be a selling league for the next 5, 10 years. And then who knows what happens. They're
And
never going to open up the purse strings and say, spend whatever you want, because just like any other sport in the United States, we'll spend. I mean, they'll spend. And what we don't want is we don't want essentially the league going under, right? We want this league to be around 20 years, 30 years
and
from
it's
now.
not easy competing with the fact that you don't have the Champions League. That is something that the MLS will always be competing against. The Eredivisie, Liga NOS.
Yep.
They're gonna play on the biggest stage in the world of football, and that is the
Very true.
Champions League.
Yeah. And
Which
then you marry that to the fact that you have to go up against NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, and you have an American public that is warming up, mostly thanks to the U.S. Women's National Team being so damn successful, but warming up to the fact that there's soccer culture or football culture that's being built every day in the United States, and it's going to continue. But 25 years ago, I learned about football.
Mhm.
My little 2-year-old is not going to know a world without Major League Soccer. She's not going to know a world without Major League Soccer. So it's
That's
a big deal.
amazing.
It is.
No, that is
So,
amazing. That's so cool. It's the impact that it's having. It's and these
yeah.
stars, Gio Reyna, like
Hmm.
he may be the one that marks a new generation of U.S. stars. Caden Clark, Gio Reyna, Kate Cowell,
Yep.
Brendan Aronson.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's
Oh,
more. There's more behind him. Christian Pulisic opened Pandora's box, and now everybody is starting to make those moves. I mean, there's so many that have had their imprint made in the lower levels of, say, the youth academies at FC Dallas. Gio Reyna was at NYCFC, where his dad was actually the technical director for a while.
David
Claudio, who's a
Reiner.
legend. But there are more beyond them, and we have two things that we should focus on in the future. Two episodes. One
Mhm.
episode where we talk about all the young South American talent, right? Not
Okay.
just in MLS, but those that might actually be really good European transfer targets. And then the other one should be the next generation of American footballers, because there's a
I'd
lot of
love it.
talent.
I'd
There's
love
like,
it.
I believe there are like 5 Gio Reynas coming up the ranks right now, and
This is
you'll
a
see.
big statement. Oh, this is a big statement. I'm gonna
It's a big
soundbite that.
statement.
You're saying there are 5 Gio right now coming up.
Different positions, but absolutely, I think there are 5 that are going to follow the. Well, they now think what Gio Reyna is doing. They now think that is normal, right? So you've got 12, 13,
I agree.
14 year olds right now that have had better training from day one,
Okay.
right?
Good argument.
And and they're put in a setting that no longer is, the American mentality is, I don't care if you're 6 years old or you're 15 years old, the aim is to win.